think first of all, I think I was incredibly lucky to be part of the Cloudways team. Great product, great team, excellent leadership, a very loyal customer base. The one of the things that I learned from my time during Cloudways is that how to build great products, how to grow fast, and how to really execute fast and build products that customers want. While I was at Cloudways and we were building products, there was one thing that always I had in my mind and sort of always problems with was to get user insights and to really understand what users would like or not. Either is it about building a product or running a new marketing campaign. I think that was always a challenge because if you go out and do research and testing, you're going to spend like weeks and thousands of dollars doing that, and we usually won't have a budget and time to do that. And then on the other hand, I was seeing this whole AI revolution coming in 2024, which is obviously the biggest revolution that all of the revolutions we have seen. That is internet, mobile, social, cloud, bigger than all of these. So I think that was a moment that when I thought that I know this problem exists today, and then there is this technology of AI that is coming in. And then I thought like maybe this is the opportunity that I move on from Cloudways, and then I use all what I've learned here, all the expertise I've built, and build something of my own, and then solve this problem that I have had for a while. I think again, very lucky to go through an exit so early in my career. I think the biggest thing that these exits, like this exit, this was the biggest exit out of Pakistan. So the biggest thing that these exits I think give you is that they give you the financial muscle to build more, and they give you the credentials to build more. So I think that was a big thing that I got out of this transaction. And the other thing was that when we got acquired, at that time, Cloudways, we still used to run and operate like in startup, even though we were at $50 million in ARR, 100,000 customers, but we're still very scrappy and used to run like a startup. But when we obviously got into DigitalOcean, which is a much bigger company, $1 billion in ARR, listed in the New York Stock Exchange. So when we were in that integration and transition phase, I think when I saw how they operate, the systems that they have, the processes that they have, the scale at where they operate, the GTM engine that they have operate, I think that was a great learning for me when I had this transition period. The other thing that really helped me build my conviction in what I am building today is that I got this conviction that as you grow, getting user insights and understanding what user wants, it's get even harder, not easier. So I think that's something that got me more conviction into building what I'm building today. So I'm a big believer in the fact that action generates insights. You have to take action to learn new things. There is one meta sort of methodology that I like to follow a lot. That is about that comes from Jeff Bezos from Amazon. Is that this concept of one-way door and two-way doors? So there are decisions in our life that are irreversible, sort of, or if they're reversible, they take a lot of cost and energy to reverse them. So you have to be very diligent about those. You have to spend a lot of time thinking and analyzing those decisions before you move on. And then there are two-way doors. They are the decisions that don't have a lot of cost and they don't take a lot of energy if you have to revert them. So you have to make sure that you are very, very thoughtful about the one-way door decisions, and then you move fast with the two-way door decisions. So this is like sort of the meta methodology that I have when I'm like taking any decisions. But obviously there's one thing that you have to sort of like build that instinct that you don't ship mediocre stuff in the spirit of moving fast. So you have to like find the right balance, and I think you have to sort of build that instinct that okay, now I have reached a level where doing internal analysis, or like if I spend 8 hours more with my team, I'm not going to generate any new insight. So this is the time I go out, put it in front of actual users and get insight. So you have to sort of build that instincts on the go. Very, very simple. I think the way I describe Articos is that Articos helps you run user research and testing in 30 minutes at a fraction of cost instead of spending 4 weeks and thousands of dollars. So Articos helps you get user insights in weeks instead of, helps you get insights in 30 minutes instead of spending weeks and thousands of dollars. Yeah, so that's very simple. That's how I like to explain it. Skipping research has traditionally been normalized because people have this concept that research is sort of a luxury, and if they want to do research, they have to spend thousands of dollars, and they have to like need an 8 week timeline to do that. So people have this thing in their mind that is associated with traditional research, and that's why they have normalized skipping research. But what they don't understand is the opportunity cost that exists here, because they skip research, which feels very good for the time being, but then they spend weeks and weeks and thousands of dollars in building something nobody wants. So when we like go to users and when we go into the market, we see two sorts of group in the market broadly. The number one group is that they don't believe that AI is something that can help you with user research. So and they think there is no faster and affordable way, so they skip research or go with the traditional research. So we obviously like work with those and like help them understand how what Articos is doing and how can AI help them in user research and insights. And the other group is that which believes that AI can do it, but they try to do it their own way, or tried something that didn't work well, and they ran into hallucinations and whatnot, and that really like hurt their experience. So I think these are the two big user groups that we see in the market from the friction perspective when we go out and educate people. Yeah. Yeah. So I think before we talk about what is synthetic users, it's very important to also talk about what synthetic users are not. So synthetic users are not ChatGPT or any other LLM pretending to be your customers, because LLMs are great, they're very powerful, but they are designed in a way that they are designed to be a helpful assistant. They are designed to be agreeable. They are designed to be your yes man, if you will. So simply just using an LLM as and making it pretend to be your user is not going to work. And this is not what synthetic users are when we talk about synthetic users. The other misconception that I see people having about synthetic users is that they think and they believe that synthetic users are here to replace real human research, which is not true at all. And we are very explicit about this in our communication, in our marketing and education, that this is not about replacing human research. Our focus and our goal is that the research that was getting skipped today because of all the constraints that exist today, we make that simpler, and we make research more accessible using synthetic users. So people that didn't do research at all, we are at least enabling them to do research using synthetic users. So the idea is again not to replace human research. Now, I think coming back to your actual question on what is synthetic users, so it's basically a piece of technology where we use AI to simulate human behavior. They are AI simulated participants, which we create after understanding your business context, your research need, your research questions. So we create these synthetic users. They have their own memory, they have their own belief systems, they have their own culture and social nuances. They are created with almost around 140 different attributes, which really makes them behave like very, very close to how a real human participant would behave. Yeah, so I think two things. We are internally huge users of articles. So everything we are either building or any marketing campaign or anything that is going out in front of users, that goes through articles, and we always try to understand how users would feel about what you're building. So we use articles a lot for that. And the other thing is that we are not really like blocking people from moving fast when we talk about research first, because people again have this thing associated with research, is that if you're going to do research, obviously, okay, it's 8 weeks thing, and you slow down and all of this happens. But we are changing that. We are making that happen in 30 minutes. So we are not stopping you from moving fast, but we are helping you move fast in the right direction with the right insights. I think there are multiple things. A is obviously what's our long-term vision and goal look like for the product, where we see the product, and then the other thing is what our users want. Like we like to stay very close to our users, and we see what are their needs, what they want us to fix, what they want us to build, And obviously, then there is this research aspect. As I was saying, we are big users of articles. We try to understand more about our users' pain point, what they want us to build, what are their pain points. So there are like two, three different things that drive our product roadmap today. Um, Very, very important question. Thank you for asking that. So I think this is something that has been very close to our team, and we have spent a lot of time reaching where we are today, and we have committed to spend more time as we do further iteration. So I think the one thing that we realized when we were building this thing out is that when people are going to use articles, they are going to expect and they're going to appreciate experience that is as close as possible to human experience. And this is why we had to put in a lot of effort, not only in just the core technology of how we build articles, but the entire pipeline that we have built today, as you were saying about hypothesis blinding and all of these stuff. So I think we have spent a lot of time in making sure that these synthetic personas that we build, they are as close as possible to human, and we have been able to achieve almost around 90% accuracy in the test that we have done. We have validated across multiple open research data available. So we have really put in efforts in making sure that these synthetic personas have these social and cultural nuances. They have their own belief system. They have diversity amongst the persona, because you don't want eight of your participants to say the same thing. You don't want them to echo each other. So they don't. So they all of them have a different psychological background. They all have a different psychometrics. So they all behave and act in a different way. And this is where we have uh, spent a lot of time. As I was saying, that LLMs, though, are very powerful, but they are built to be helpful assistants, and they will always agree with you. And they have this confirmation bias problem that, again, we have spent a lot of time in fixing. Um, what we have been able to achieve is that when we do this research, when we run these research pipelines, we have this concept of hypothesis blinding. It helps us improve the confirmation bias. Yeah, and we have worked, like, we did multiple iterations of the product. We have worked very closely with the users, and there has been multiple iterations, multiple customer feedback, which has been very valuable in getting the product to the stage where it is today. I think there is like no single hardest problem, but there are, like, as I was saying, we have done multiple iterations and we are committed to do multiple iterations. But I think really making sure that we are properly able to cater the research use case and the research needs user have from the workflow perspective, and obviously the quality of the synthetic personas that we make. It's not just about like their accuracy, but about how they behave, how they talk to you, how they respond. So all of this, I think it's sort of a priority for us to improve, and we are spending a lot of time in all of that. Yeah, I think if I be honest with you on this one, I would say that this has been the steepest learning curve in this whole journey, but also the most exciting one. I've learned a lot in this journey. Obviously, like, having a product sense and having the experience in building products and understanding what users want doesn't give you that experience of selling the product, or doesn't automatically create a demand where product would people would want to buy your product. So especially when you're operating in an emerging market like we are, the one thing that I would like to call out here is the help that I get from the Disrupt ecosystem, both as a investor and a venture builder, because we have deep down years of experience, hands-on experience, and the network that we have, that has been incredibly helpful uh, to help me on the GTM side. And I think lastly, LLMs, obviously, they've gotten really powerful. Like today, if I go to Cloud Code and I ask him to build me a product, it will do a decent job. But if I go to Cloud Code and ask it to get me 10 customers, it will give me a very long answer, but won't get me a single customer. So I think it stays the hardest part. The one thing that has helped me is to like keep doing experiments, because I think that especially at the stage that we are, that is the early stage, there is no defined growth playbook that you can use to get early customers. You have to use a lot of channels. You have to do a lot of experiments to get some traction, and we have been doing that, and we have had some success with that. Yeah, I think as soon as like you're in a stage where you think the product is good enough and you have to go out and get some users to your product, that is the moment that you realize, okay, I've built the product, but the hard part is about selling the product, and you really need that go to market motion now to get users to use your product. So I think that is the moment when you realize it. I think we had some hypotheses when we were initially building the product and thinking to go out regarding the ICPs. I think what has helped us, and I'm happy that we did that, was that we went out very early and we experimented with multiple ICP. Initially, we were not very laser focused on simple as on a single ICP, and that is how we were able to like get into conversations about all of these. We were able to monitor how they're using the product, what are their use cases. I mean, all of these user segments that you have mentioned about, either it's SaaS teams, consultants, and agencies, um, they all are very valuable to us, and we really appreciate them using the product. But I think where we have seen the most demand and the most right fit are agencies, because agencies are usually working across multiple clients of theirs, and they don't usually have the time and budget to do traditional research, and they need it on like very recurring basis compared to a software company. So we now have been slightly focused on agencies after doing some initial experimentation on multiple ICPs. So that's how our thinking around ICP has evolved. We are still like we still like keep on doing discovery, and we still like keep on seeing where you can find other user segments that would be relevant for articles. But that's how our thinking has evolved in the last few months. Yeah, I think the most interesting thing is that the ICP that we are focused today, we were not initially thinking about them. And the ICPs that we were initially thinking about, and we were very like enthusiastic about, um, we when we went out in the market and they used the product, we felt like they are not the right fit for the product. And then obviously, we have to make changes to the product, make it more relevant, more fit for the use case that our ICP, which we have today, it's fit for that ICP, and obviously then we have to slightly change the way we do go to market as well. So I think these were broadly the changes that we changes and opportunities that we saw once we like had initial conversations with potential users. I think that competition is not AI versus AI. LLMs are great. They're very powerful. Uh, but they are general purpose, and they are, as I was saying, they're designed to be built as a they're designed to be a helpful assistant, and they are designed to be your yes man in most of the use cases. And this is like where our efforts are, and where we are like trying to educate people that you can't just like go to an LLM and like write a prompt, behave like my customer, and then do some research and then call it a research. I think that's very shallow, and that really doesn't represent what directionally your user would want. So our competition is not about using ChatGPT or any other AI. It's about pretending to do research when it's not actually research. So this is where we are like doing our efforts and helping people. Yeah, great question. I think we have several of these moments in the last few months, because when you initially go out and talk to people and then explain them how our thing works and what's the concept of this whole synthetic personas and how we use AI, uh, you would expect them to be a bit skeptical about it, and like they would say, okay, like why I can do this with ChatGPT, or like how are you different from an LLM, or why should I trust it? But I think the moment that they use the product, they interact with the workflow that our teams have built, and they look at the outcomes that they receive, and then when they look at the time that they are able to achieve in it and the cost that they are able to achieve in it, I think that is the moment where we see people turn from skeptics into users. See, our goal is not to make the user research category relevant. Our goal is to make all the constraints that exist today with user research irrelevant. So recruiting delays, no shows, cost, time, budget, all of these things, we are on a fight against them, and we want to make all of these irrelevant. But I think the user research category is here to stay, and we are not here to make it irrelevant. However, we are trying to create a new category of instant user research and instant user insights. And I think that is a category we're building, and we would want to own that category. I think in this time, when the technology is there but the market is not there, the worst thing you can do is just sit there and then don't take any action. Uh, I feel like it's a very good spot to be in when you are like in an emerging market, because you have the capability and you have the opportunity to really own that category that didn't exist today, versus going into an established category and then like getting a small piece of it. I think the one thing that people need to like focus on when building in AI is that I mean, LLMs are very powerful, and like they can give that instant wow in a demo, but I think the real value lies in the workflow that you build, the vertical expertise that you bring in, and how well do you understand your user workflow, and how do you really understand their pain points, and you try to solve that by building a product on top of AI. Yeah. I think it's an interesting question, but it's also very like subjective. As I was saying earlier, you have to like sort of build that subjective instinct on the go, where you understand, okay, like this is the stage where my product is doing a mediocre job, and not solving the pain point, and doesn't have the right value for the user. So I should build more before I ship. But obviously, you have to also find the right balance where you're not just polishing, adding bells and whistles, adding add-ons on top of the product, and we're not going out in front of the users. I think it's very important to like make sure that the core problem that you're trying to solve, you are solving it really well, and there is no compromise on that. In all the other things, they can like fall in place later, but you have to really make sure that before you go out, you solve the core problem very well. Yeah. I think the things that I would, without any hesitation, do again is shipping early. Like there's a saying that if you're not embarrassed on the V1 of your product, you didn't ship too early. So I'm very embarrassed on the V1 of our product. So, but I would do that again. I would again ship early, and I would again be embarrassed on what we ship as a V1. The other thing is experiments. We did a lot of experiments on like how do we get customers, how do we do go to market, and everything around that. So I think shipping early and experiments are something that I would do without any hesitation. And I think if you talk about the things that I would like to sort of improve, is that I think when we went out initially, our core product was a bit weaker, and I think we should have like put in more thoughts into that we did earlier, and we were able to do a pretty good job. But I think that is something that I would focus on. Um, ICP experimentation is another thing. I think initially we didn't do a very good job on how do we experiment with multiple ICPs and really like learn fast on that front. So I think that is another thing that I would be more thoughtful about when I do it again. I think the few things that we have learned along the ways is that you have to do a lot of efforts on educating the customers in this category, because it's new. And like as I was saying, people have normalized this concept of skipping research because it's expensive and time taking. So you have to deal with that. This is also an opportunity, but this is also an objection that you'll get when you go out in the market. And then you have to do really a lot of efforts on how do you really give that human like experience that can build trust in your users, because that happens with two things. A is your core technology, and the second thing is the workflow that you have built. Like I'm very proud of what our team has been able to achieve from the workflow perspective, because no matter what sort of user, either they convert or not, but when they look at our workflow, they really appreciate that. So I think that is something that is very valuable today.